thanks a lot for joining to hear about Tickets for Good. My name's Steve Rimmer, the founder and CEO of Tickets for Good. My background is kind of interesting in terms of the last 15 years of being in live events, set up venues in Sheffield in the north of England where I'm from, set up and ran a top 10 venue as voted by The Guardian in 2015. That's my claim to fame. And around 10 years ago, expanded into ticketing, firstly with a more of a focus on charitable donations, so fundraising through ticketing, and realised that the world of ticketing is complex, is very large, but it's a very complex and an interesting industry, very difficult to break through. And what we actually found was there was a new way to combine a lot of the learnings that I'd found in the primary ticketing space to create Tickets for Good, which we'll talk about today. Now, I have to thank Live Nation, in particular, the President and CEO, Michael Rapino, for this recent quote in an interview with Bloomberg that he did, where he said that 95% of live events don't sell out, which was a fantastic quote for me because we're really in the business of filling venues. And so we used to actually use an older quote, which was around 40% of tickets remain unsold. But this new quote that came out, if anyone's interested, I would definitely look up Michael Rapino Bloomberg interview because he's got some fantastic insights on there. And obviously Live Nation, the biggest promoter in the world. But as well as tickets being unsold, what we found was this is really interesting connection in the members of Tickets for Good, which I'll go into, which is about connecting, going to live events and people feeling happier and healthier. So why couldn't we combine unsold tickets and people feeling happier and healthier and create that virtuous circle? And that's a lot of the thinking that went into the Tickets for Good model. Recently, a study came out by a research centre and a think tank that actually mapped the impact on empty seats and where that sits. And this was a really interesting statistic that came out quite high, in my opinion, and it does range quite a lot. You see other quotes like every pound on ticketing is £100 spent in the local economy. But this was done by a research agency in the area and actually said that out of every seat, £629 was spent in the local economy, which I just find amazing. And that's obviously spending on maybe hotel rooms, on travel, on food, ancillary spend over and above the ticket price. So just think of the event as the catalyst for this extra spending, which I found really interesting. So how does this link to Tickets for Good? Well, what we do is we help to fill venues, increase revenues, and grow audiences. And we do that through our platform that we've created. We actually launched back in 2019, initially called the Ticket Bank, like a food bank for tickets. We were giving free tickets to charity partners. And we set up the company, joined an organisation, took investment from Bethnal Green Ventures in London in 2019, went out to launch in March of 2020. Not a good time for the live events industry, but we persevered and we actually realised there was this massive shift in terms of how people think about people doing good. And I'm sure you'll all remember in the pandemic, people really realised just how amazing healthcare workers are for the community and what they do and how they help people. So we decided to pivot and we relaunched as Tickets for Good for national healthcare workers in the UK. And that's the journey I'm going to tell you about today. So our solution, I describe it as a ticketing platform, but crucially, we're not a retailer. We partner with the retailers like Ticketmaster or any retailer to help add value to the rights owners. They could be live music promoters, theatre producers, sports teams. We help them to gift tickets as a donation to people doing good or to fill empty seats that they might have at the venue. We define people doing good as people working in healthcare as our beachhead focused market. And we've also expanded into people working into charity workers and teachers as our three sections. Healthcare workers, charity workers, teachers is where we focus. We've created a platform. It's free to sign up if you're a healthcare worker. And we charge a booking fee per ticket to access the show. I'll come on to a bit more how that's important later. So traditional models around similar and adjacent to what we do have been seen more about last-minute papering, as it's known in the industry, seat filling. But what we see is that our solution can provide much more than that. It's a way for stakeholders in the industry, live music promoters, theatre producers, sports teams, but also artists or anyone with tickets to donate them, to give back. But it's not just about filling seats, it's also about creating future fans. How can we get more people to go to more events, new events that they might not have otherwise been to, event discovery, coming back to events, especially post-pandemic, bringing people back to events. So we think of ourselves as much more as an audience development solution, part of the marketing mix. And also we found this really interesting space that connects live music to people feeling happier and healthier, so that improving of mental well-being in the process. Over the years, we actually launched officially in spring of 2021, relaunched post-COVID, and we've been really more active since the beginning of 2022. And since then, we've worked with over 1,000 live event partners and hundreds of partners in the B2B space, whether that's people in healthcare or charities or education organisations, the employers of the people doing good. But in particular, we focused on the supply side first, the live music promoters, theatre producers, sports teams. We found that in some cases, they'll give us donations of tickets much earlier. So maybe a pair of tickets to every show. We've done that with the Pixies recently, the band, and also Robbie Williams. But then closer to the event, that's where we can help with unsold seats. And of course, everyone would love to have a completely full venue. But as we talked about earlier, that statistic, 95% of live events not selling out, does mean that in a number of cases, there are seats to fill. So that's where we step in. And sometimes people want to be public facing as a donation. Sometimes it's more of a private distribution channel, just specifically to our members. So a lot of different ways that we can support and ultimately add value to the live event promoters, which is, I guess, our number one stakeholder prior to the demand side employees that we support. So far, we started in the UK, but last year we opened up an office in Amsterdam to expand back into Europe, set up our headquarters in Amsterdam for our European company and expansion. And then at the same time, we've been developing a US market expansion in a smaller way, but that was through our partnership with Comcast Sports Tech. They invested back in 2023 and helped us to look at opening up in the US market on the sports side. Now, for any of those familiar with the US market, huge market, but also does require significant capital. So we've been keeping that kind of development warm, investing into that market, but really focusing on the European market as our key areas of development. And if you're in a couple of minutes, I'll be announcing something very special about how we got here as well. So just to give you a bit of the scale, members-wise, we've signed up over 500,000 members, and those are verified individuals that work in healthcare or education or charity sectors. We verify them through their employee details, and over 500,000 people have now signed up and been verified, which is our key metric. Over 1,000 partnerships within the live event space across music, theatre, sports, and growing every day. Last year, we turned over £1 million worth of booking fee revenues, and that's our revenue directly to us. As a traditional marketplace, for those who would think of gross merchandise value, we're actually tracking at around 10 million because our booking fee is relatively small. On average, it's around 10% or less of the face value of the tickets. And so, although it's not a technical phrase, we think of reflective GMV being around 10 times what our booking fee revenue is. But of course, we're giving away free tickets, so we can't count that as traditional gross market value. We're actually on course to double revenue this year. We've already doubled in the first half of the year since last year as well. We just completed on a 500,000 seed round earlier this year, and just last week we opened up our 3 million price round. So that's officially launching today as part of a wider announcement. Thank you very much. And hopeful that we can make some videos
we are
work.
Teaming up with Tickets for Good, who help NHS and charity workers access our game. This is your chance to join us at the bridge and cheer us on. Get your tickets now.
So Youngblood is starting his own festival this summer for the masses in Milton Keynes, with cheaper tickets after the rock star found the festival circuit had just become too expensive for fans.
I feel like it's got really corporate and really sterile and really privileged. I think I was in America and I was like, we played Coachella and it was like 800 quid for a ticket and it made me feel sick. We've worked with Tickets for Good to be able to provide free tickets for people with low income, because I genuinely believe the whole point of this festival is to set a precedent that music is for everybody.
Robbie, it's the stadium where, of course, you're going to be performing again, 22nd, 23rd of June. I believe you're also your long-time Tickets for Good ambassador already.
Yes, I am indeed.
I decided also to join forces.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well played.
It's something special for me, mainly also because of my history last year when I became ill. So to do something back for people in the health services, it's in my view incredible. And I believe that's also that for the second concert you're also willing to give some tickets to the foundation and to the organization.
It fills my heart that I'm able to do that, and I think that they do God's work. And if we can give back in whatever small way, and in this case, there will be tickets from me on my behalf to them to thank them for their service and for their work. And I gladly do it. I'm very happy to do it.
Great to talk and see you again.
Lovely to see you, mate.
Yeah, I think you're at the stadium from Ajax, of course. So.
Well, thanks to our early investor, Robbie Williams, who's actually our largest private investor, and also more recently our ambassador, Edwin van der Sar, there as well, alongside a couple of our examples working with Chelsea FC on the women's team, but also Youngblood, which doing that as a front-facing activation actually created a significant number of articles for Youngblood and what he was doing just recently. So it shows the power of actually leveraging the doing good for additional marketing and press from the artist side as well, which was really interesting. So just want to go through a couple of, as we come towards the end of the presentation, a couple of the impactful pieces. So what we're doing is giving free tickets to shows to people working in healthcare, education and charity sectors. But ultimately, what's the impact of those individuals and how does it help them? So just to read out a couple of the quotes that we've had, we're seeing things like, it created a better bond with my daughter, which is just, I mean, we give away free tickets and it's always a +1, maybe 2, maybe 4 or 6 tickets in total. So people can go with their family and friends. It's not just about individuals, it's them and their friends and family being able to go. From the employer side, some of the impacts we've really enjoyed reading around how it's benefiting people in terms of work stress. And ultimately, I would say it's a difficult job in terms of working in healthcare, especially at the front line, and charity workers and teachers. So being able to help people with their work stress and hopefully reduce that is really important, and we're really pleased about that. And just helping people in general feel valued, and hopefully that links back to people actually staying longer in their job and feeling happier and healthier in the process. One of our super fans meets Sergeet. So at first we were like, who's this person booking tickets to every show? Like, is it someone who's like taking them and maybe like reselling them or something like that, which we were obviously a bit concerned about. But when we got in touch, we found that it was just someone who was just absolutely loved Tickets for Good and was going to so many events, pretty much every event that she could in the local area of London. And she would now is one of our best and most loyal super fans, sends us pictures every time. And it's just been fantastic to hear about the impact of someone who's really got to grips with this activity and is going to as many events as possible. So we're really thankful to Sergeet for all of her feedback and the comments and the photos that she sends us. So on to why are we here in Belgium? Other than being an amazing for-profit with purpose startup, there's a real connection to Belgium and specifically Liège that we've been invited to talk about today. So how did we get here? Well, thankfully, we just talked about the journey. Well, I was recommended by one of our early investors, Will Mills, a big supporter of ours, to look at Wallifornia after he came in 2022. And that resulted in me applying to the accelerator. successfully was accepted as one of 10 startups in the 2023 cohort of Wallifornia, and was lucky enough to present and then be voted as the Startup of the Year in 2023, which kicked off a journey of happiness in terms of coming to Liège and coming back to Liège. And so I came back and did a Reconnect and Expansion talk in the 2024 conference, and that led to a conversation with LeanSquare Ventures. And from that, we talked about how we could align with what the fund is looking for from LeanSquare and Noshak, and in particular being active and open in Belgium was a big part of that. So at the same time, we were already expanding into the Netherlands, as I mentioned earlier, and so it felt like the right time. And LeanSquare actually ended up participating in our last funding round, the 500k round that I mentioned, took a big position in there, effectively led the round. And as part of that, we really refocused our efforts to think, well, what could we do in Belgium? And so coming back today, I'm here to talk about what we've been doing in the Belgian market. So just around 10 days ago, working with Robbie Williams on his show in Amsterdam, the first night was completely sold out, it turns out, in half an hour, but they did a second night. And although that was sold very well, there was a few tickets available. So we were able to not only give those tickets out through our Netherlands platform, but also use it as a catalyst to soft launch. And so we started pushing out the Belgian platform and leveraging some of the contacts we'd made with in the Liège and Wallifornia region, and said, well, would any healthcare workers locally like to go to Robbie Williams in Amsterdam? And with the support of one of the local organisations, CSD, and the Solidaris Network, we're able to give away some tickets to healthcare workers in Belgium who travelled to Amsterdam for the Robbie Williams show. And that was really just fantastic to see that people were not only prepared to engage with something relatively new, not known in the market, but also helped us to really think, well, when are we going to be able to launch the platform? And so coming back and getting in touch with the team here at Wallifornia, we really just decided that now was the time. And so today, right now, I'm happy to announce that Tickets for Good is launching in Belgium. And we're just about up to the embargo time in about 5 minutes. And so hopefully, I know for a fact that a very significant publication will be publishing this news. And not only are we announcing that we're active and launching in Belgium, but we're also opening up our 3 million funding round. But we're going to be based right here in Grand Poste in Liège for our Belgian market. So really a full circle moment from joining Wallifornia, winning the Startup of the Year, coming back, taking investment from LeanSquare, and now launching in Belgium. So thanks so much for everyone's support from the team. It's just great to be here and really happy to announce this news. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Steve. Absolutely awesome. So inspiring. I'm sure you'll all agree. And what a journey. And it's a journey that, is growing and moving forward. We've got time for questions. Anybody got any questions? I've got millions. Anyone? Model? Anything?
Hopefully it was all super clear and everyone knows. And then
Yeah,
we've
go
got
on,
one here. One of our big supporters, actually, Leon from the BPI. Thank you very much.
So Steve, really great presentation. Congratulations. Really great news. You're showing examples of music and sports. Which one do you think is going to be a quicker win for you and Tickets for Good? Where do you think the bang for the buck is for attracting healthcare workers to come to? Which kind of genre do you think they'll be into most?
Well, not just because I'm at a music tech conference, but it is absolutely, and great question as well. What we found is the closest it fit is with live music concerts and festivals. I think really people with sports, it can be a bit more specific. You might need to want to go to that see that team or be a bit more local. But we've found with live music shows that people will literally travel hours, if not across the the country. So for the Robbie show in Amsterdam, we had over 100 people book tickets from the UK, so they travelled to that show. We worked with Idols in Cornwall, which, if people are not familiar with the UK, is about 4 hours down south from London, on lots of small roads. So people will travel for big name artists, but just in general, we found that live music shows, concerts and festivals have been both our fastest sellers, but also our biggest market in terms of events. So number one is live music, but we do cover live music, theatre, including all performing arts like comedy and everything like that. But live music, theatre and sports are our three areas of coverage. And we're actually seeing a lot of crossover with a number of our sports partners hosting large live music concerts, and so that sort of closes the loop as well. But live music is definitely our number one area of focus, and that's my background as well, so I'm really pleased that that's the case.
Thanks for that, Leon. I've got one question. Investors invest in conviction, and you have a lot of that. So what drives you?
Well, thanks for the kind words. And I mean, for me, it's about doing good. And I think that doing good can also be good for business. And I think that I've come from a live events background, but also a charity background. So I've seen the amazing work that charities and non-profits do, but more recently been just really sort of like a lot of people brought home how amazing healthcare workers are in terms of our community and our space and what they do. So just to being able to give back. I've been lucky enough to work in live events and music for many years, 15 years in fact, and hardly ever paid for a ticket on that basis. And so when it comes, I've always thought I'd taken it for granted that I could go to shows. But when I realised there was actually lots of people that didn't have access to tickets, mainly because of the price, but usually maybe it was not just the price, but can I make that investment into that event? I thought, well, there's a huge gap here. There's lots of spare capacity. And as I dug into it, found all those amazing quotes and bits of data. So it's about driving me to help people experience live events and live music, but just in particular, helping people to feel happier and healthier, which I think just in general is always going to be good. So I guess I'm driven by doing good, but I also want to make a successful and significant startup in the world and build a global business at the same time.
Brilliant. And what type of investor are you looking for, or investors?
Well, so we've been focusing on larger institutional check writers, and we do hope we have a lead investor already lined up for this current round, people with this sort of 2 to 3 million hat on. But I've always been a believer in having people with strategic value is so important. So one of our biggest and earliest supporters was a chap called Stephen O'Reilly, who's Robbie Williams' business manager from IE Music. He really got the concept and was actually one of our very earliest investors, and then brought Robbie into the mix as well. And so having angel investors with a strategic view on the industry, whether it's on the live side, but also on the membership side as well, and the ticketing side, can really help accelerate, because as we know, it's all about relationships a lot of the time and people that can open doors. So I'm just a big believer in just being able to work with people on an individual basis as well. And so people with an interest in live events, ticketing, but also doing good at the same time.
Brilliant. So if anyone here can open up doors, get in touch with Steve, and thank you so much. Keep on being brilliant.
Thank you.
Big round of applause.
Thanks.